Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to the Mindful Living podcast, where we explore the many facets of mental health, personal growth, and holistic well being. I am thrilled to have a truly inspiring guest with us today, John Gesumaria, LSW, founder of Diffrently, a groundbreaking company offering holistic and innovative alternative to traditional therapy. John's path to social work is as unique as it is powerful. From a career in process consulting to becoming a social worker, John has combined lived experiences with professional expertise to reshape how we think about mental health support. John's journey is deeply personal, navigating life with learning disabilities, physical health challenges, and mental health struggles. His mission with Differently is clear: to revolutionize mental health care by connecting people with social workers in new and impactful ways while providing support across diverse life areas. And today on the Mindful Living podcast, we'll dive into how John's lived experiences and professional insights have shaped Differently and what makes it such a modern, holistic alternative to traditional therapy. We'll explore how social work, mental health advocacy, and the lessons from his own journey have all come together to create a truly transformative approach. So, without further ado, let's welcome John Jesumaria to the Mindful Living podcast. John, welcome, and it's an absolute honor to have you with us today.
Thank you. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here.
So, starting with your personal journey, John, you have spoken about the challenges you have faced growing up with learning disabilities, physical health, setbacks, and also mental health struggles. How did these experiences shape your desire to enter the work of social work?
Um, yeah, for many reasons. I think a lot of people do get into social work because they either have some type of lived experience or a loved one. So it becomes a kind of a little bit of a personal journey as well. But my love for helping people has always been there. But going through my own personal journey and my own personal struggles really opened my eyes to the system as a young kid, what the process is for getting help. I had a lot of traditional therapy, which I will say I would not be here without. But then I also saw a lot of flaws as I got older with the traditional practice. And really, it's been very therapeutic for myself as well to be able to help process all of the things I've went through, and now being able to bring it to other people, the different solutions that I found, and also just the passion to help people. So, each one of my experiences really has a purpose behind Differently.
Hmm. Lovely, lovely. So you mentioned that you disclosed your mental health condition to your HR department to better understand the disclosure process. That's a bold move. Very, very, it takes a lot of courage, especially in corporate world. What was that experience like, and how did it influence your decision to found differently? What was that inspiration, John?
So the inspiration is that I worked in corporate America for 10 years. I really enjoyed it. But having a lot of learning disabilities and mental health challenges growing up,
Mhm.
they started to be exposed in corporate America as I had to begin really doing a lot more PMO work, where a lot more writing was coming into play versus a lot prior, which was a lot more process oriented. But ideally, growing up, I had a lot of help from social workers and a lot of support. So it was something that I was used to be able to speak about my struggle. So when I was in corporate America and I wasn't able to freely speak about it, it then caused another layer of stress on myself because now I'm back to feeling hidden. I'm back to feeling like I have to hide my true self. And the other thing is that the disclosure process is such an important piece in corporate America because that is how somebody who's struggling gets their accommodations to succeed. And a lot of times it's, kind of very challenging to go to HR because we don't want to seem like we have problems because that could then backfire and ultimately hurt us or hurt our career, or at least we think so. So towards the end of my career, about 2 years left, I really did want to switch jobs. So I was really looking at different jobs. And at that time, I'm somebody who really believes in lived experiences and believes that change has to come from within. And the only way that I can really improve the workplace and the accommodation and get better accommodations was to experience it. And I think just through all of my experiences growing up, I vowed to myself when I was younger that I would do whatever it takes to improve society, improve mental health. And so, going through the disclosure process was just one of them that I kind of just bit my tongue and just moved forward regardless of the fear that I had. So it was very challenging, but it was a great experience. And now I have a true understanding from the inside of how, it works.
Wow, this is really encouraging, John. So, talking about Differently, it offers an alternative to traditional therapy with a focus on holistic and community driven support. So, what makes Differently different from standard therapeutic models and how it caters to the evolving mental health needs of today's society?
Yeah. So first, I do want to say that we aren't necessarily an alternate to therapy because we still believe very much so in therapy. Therapy is a key piece to healing. But what we see is that having therapy as the only option is limiting people to going to get help because therapy is based on a clinical approach. And that clinical approach doesn't necessarily work for today's issues or everyday problems. It was really designed to help traumas, to help mental health conditions. So it was really limiting in that way. And also that now with such a diverse, population here in America, it also was limited because a majority of therapists, it is a very white dominated profession. So it limited that. So what we thought about with Differently is that there's clinical and non-clinical social workers. So the clinical social workers are your therapists, but these non-clinical social workers are working in the field across all of these different areas, such as elderly care, working in the hospitals, working in schools. And all of these people bring such great expertise, and that we believe that there needed to be another layer of support in order for us to truly and be able to serve the amount of people that need help in this country. It's impossible to actually just utilize therapy as the only option. So creating Differently was all about creating that level below therapy where people can come to us for more practical type advice, just support, navigating, challenging systems. It's really about, seeing if we could help out with the everyday problem. And if you do need therapy, we 100% encourage that and we will help you find it. We just don't want to clog up our therapy system by everyone going to therapy first, right? Of course, sometimes that's going to happen, but if you look at the medical system, you never usually just go to a specialist. There's different levels that you go through, and that is what's missing in the mental health world, and that's kind of what we're trying to fix there.
That's really unique, and it's like the first responders, the first immediate layer of contact, and then a better guidance based on the actual requirement can be given to the person. So
100%.
really something very, very unique and very, very encouraging, John. Okay, so as you mentioned, this entire idea of connecting people with social workers for various life areas, this is something very intriguing. So, how do you see social workers playing a key role in broader mental health support systems, and what inspired you to structure differently this way?
Yeah, so I think, Differently is all built as like the first social work tech company. And the vision really came from thinking about how we always talk about how there's therapist shortage, but I don't believe there is. I just don't think we're utilizing our resources well. And that is because there's 800,000 plus social workers in the country of America, and 250,000 are therapists. So that leaves a wide gap of, social workers that have all of this experience, and and then they're free after work. So what I did is think about an Uber model where I thought, hey, these social workers get done with work, they let me know their schedule, and now I'm able to connect these social workers with the everyday person, which doesn't exist today. It is very challenging to get access to a social worker, or if it's almost impossible. So by providing this direct access, we're hoping that we can at least help reduce the reduce stress, which often mimics symptoms such as depression and anxiety. So we're really focusing on trying to reduce those everyday type stressors, and providing that support. And it really came down to looking at my past and my experiences, that I had social workers the whole way of my life, starting in like from 5, 6 years old all the way throughout college. And just seeing what type of people they are. My mom was a social worker, and how much value they can bring. It was a no-brainer in, trying to say, hey, why aren't we utilizing all of these resources and providing access to those everyday people who now are struggling just as much as anyone else?
Hmm. Great, great. So, as we can see, mental health advocacy is clearly a big part of your mission, John. So, what advice would you give to someone who is hesitant about seeking help or disclosing their own mental health challenges, or in fact, accepting or realizing, at work or maybe in their personal life?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the hardest things you're going to do because you're putting yourself out there to be very vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, that also means that it's very easy to be hurt. Uh, and that's what holds a lot of people back. But I have to say, when I started really speaking about my lived experiences when I graduated college at 22, it was challenging. But when I did do it and I really came to accept what I was dealing with and then speaking about it, there has never been a time where like the weight just lifted off my shoulders and my back, because I was able to actually speak the truth, which I was hiding for so long. So if people want to share their lived experiences, I very much encourage it. But just everyone has their own unique story, and also everyone works in their own different industries. So I think it's very important to make sure that you're comfortable, make sure that you have the support of people around you. And the other thing is I always like to tell people is to test the waters. And what I mean by that is when I worked in corporate America, I never just disclosed my mental health out of nowhere. So, for instance, say if I had a manager, I would just bring up the topic of mental health to see how they would respond to it. And then based off of that, then I would start to think about, okay, this person seems open to it. Let me just try speaking about it a little bit more from a personal level. And 99% of the time when I did that, that person ended up opening up as well, speaking about their own challenges or speaking about challenges with a loved one. So, because mental health is such a wide, and broad, umbrella, so many people are impacted, whether it's themselves or a loved one. So it's not surprising how many people will open up, but it's just amazing when you do give the opportunity for somebody else to feel like, hey, I'm not alone. I could actually speak about this.
Absolutely. Lovely. John, you are also certified in ketamine assisted therapy, which is more cutting edge approach to mental health treatment. So, can you tell us more about this experience and how you see alternative therapies integrating into mainstream mental health care?
Yeah, so definitely, it's already really becoming mainstream. It's just not as popular yet. But the more and more I do it and practice it, more and more people are, really finding how beneficial it is. And also, what it actually does is amazing. So, when you take the ketamine, it is an extremely low dose. And what it does is it kind of just allows your mind to become a bit more open. So if you think about like a trauma, a lot of times our body will not want to reopen that door because of how painful it is. Whereas when you take ketamine, it will help you on that journey to explore and be able to speak about it a little bit better and also come to peace with it. And so the way it works is after the journey is over for that person, I then, as a therapist, will help process what their journey was like. And it's amazing what comes from it. I've had people who come to me and say, "I really want to work on my depression, and it's just nothing else is happening and helping." And then all of a sudden, after they take the ketamine and go on their journey, you know, the journey had nothing to really do with the depression. And these people realize that there is so much more that, has been kind of trapped or has been avoided, maybe in the unconscious mind. So it's a really neat and new way to approach things, especially for veterans, which, is a population that deserves all of the, proper treatment and deserve the proper care. So we're hoping that this continues to grow and that it becomes more and more mainstream.
Definitely, definitely. Great. So it is clear that, John, your lived experiences have been instrumental in shaping your work. How do you think your unique path and personal challenges give you a different perspective when it comes to helping others?
Yeah, I think there's that saying, it's always easier to speak to somebody that understands or speaks to somebody that's been through it. And I think it's a saying that hasn't been utilized enough or actually acted on enough. Because as great as therapy is, you're not actually connecting with someone based off of the common lived experience. So having all of these variety of lived experiences from childhood to adulthood, from mental health to physical health, has helped me to connect with pretty much anyone that comes along the way by being able to create a safe place for them and also be able to really create a place where they feel safe and connected with me, which opens up that opportunity to really speak more freely. And also by going through all these experiences, that's what's helped me with Differently is because I've been able to look back and see what it was like for me growing up, or what it was like for me to go through those. And so I have a strong base to go off of and not just a textbook.
Definitely, definitely. Lovely, John. So before we wrap up, looking ahead, what's your vision for the future of Differently? How do you see it evolving and impacting the mental health landscape?
Yeah. So the vision for Differently is that gathering as many social workers as we can into this network and allowing people to have another layer of support. And by doing that, we're hoping that, and we've seen it really reduce the amount of stress that people have, which has improved their overall well-being because it's stress that often is causing these mirror-like symptoms of depression and anxiety. And there's just not a lot of places to go to kind of work on those everyday stressors. So the idea for Differently is that you come to us, and the vision is that you create a relationship with a social worker so that you always have access to somebody that you trust for when times get tough. And what that means is that a lot of times when things are challenged or we go into a stressful situation and there's no one to talk to, things snowball into a bigger problem. And that's what we want to really try to avoid, is that snowball effect into a bigger problem. And then down the road, to really start integrating, working with therapists in a team collaborative approach for clients.
That's really great. Very empowering. So, if our listeners want to connect with you, John, or explore more about Differently, how they can do that?
Just go to differently.net, and Differently is spelled Diffrently. And the reason for that is when I was younger, I had learning disabilities where I couldn't hear certain letters. So that way that's spelt is the way that I would spell it when I was a kid, due to the learning disabilities that I had.
That's really thoughtful. Very thoughtful. We'll mention all the details in the show notes for all of our listeners, John. And thank you so much, first of all, for sharing your incredible journey with us. And your work with Differently is truly inspiring. It's path breaking. It's surely gonna go a long way, and it's clear that your unique blend of lived experience and professional insights is transforming how we all we all approach mental health care. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was great. And looking forward if you to speak with you again.
Definitely, definitely, John. And for our listeners who want to learn more about John and Differently, be sure to check out differently.net, spelled as Diffrently.net. We'll mention all the details in the show notes along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform to explore the holistic, community driven approach to mental health support. As always, we appreciate you tuning into this episode of the Mindful Living podcast. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, leave us a review, let us know how are we doing, and share it with anyone who might benefit from these insights. Until next time, stay mindful and take care of yourselves.